Hello DC fans, thanks so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris. We were promised changes a couple of weeks ago when we found out Discovery was gonna revamp the DC universe. You might have seen those reports and I did a whole video breaking it down where the new owners of Warner Brothers are saying they want to change the DC name and bring it back to its legendary status. Don't want to get political here, but basically make DC great again. And although DC over the past couple of years has been a lot of talk and no show, we seem to finally be getting actual change for upcoming DC projects. So what I'm going to do here for you guys is breaking down all these details, with Discovery already canceling several DC projects in the works and reshaping the DC universe to a more respectable status. I'll be giving you my thoughts on the situation, what movies I think are next on the list to be canned or swapped out, but I'm also need your guys' opinions down below. How do you feel about some of these projects that just got canceled? Are they headed in the right direction? And what future DC projects do you think are safe, and which do you think are about to be canceled? Alright, so all of this started slowly happening over the weekend when people were hearing reports that Legends of Tomorrow and Batwoman, two CW DC shows, were recently canceled. Now, people didn't really bat an eye to that because CW tends to cancel a show here and there, and with Legends of Tomorrow being on its 7th season and Batwoman just always having behind the scenes drama, it seemed like it was inevitable that that would happen for those shows. But then reports started coming in that a DC movie that was fast approaching, the Wonder Twins movie that was going to be headed straight to HBO Max, starring Riverdale's KJ Apa and Isabel May, is now no longer happening thanks to CEO Zaslav at Discovery wanting to reshape the DC universe. Making it kind of obvious now, someone's walking around with a kitchen knife and stabbing all these DC properties. So backing up a bit to the CW stuff, I'm surprised this hasn't happened sooner. I know there's a lot of fans out there of the Arrowverse and all the shows that it has spawned, but in the era of streaming, I'm still very surprised Warner Brothers wastes their time with making CW shows when they should be focusing on making superhero shows for their streaming service to compete with Disney Plus, Netflix. Plus, having a superhero show on the CW is already its own stereotype that people make fun of, and that's the whole thing Discovery is aiming to do, stopping people from making fun of the DC brand. I think we're going to hear a couple of other CW shows that are currently in the works right now that might not end up happening. Some of you might not have heard, but there is a Gotham Night show coming up, where it's basically the kids of the Bat family after Batman has died. Basically, the video game we're about to get, that was going to be turned into a CW show. I'm going to be extremely shocked if they follow through and actually make that a thing, because with these recent changes, I'm not sure. But now jumping over to the Wonder Twin side of things, we gotta admit, a lot of us are kind of relieved this movie is now no longer happening. It's so wild how quickly we heard about this movie and how fast it was being made. Just in February, we got the announcement, hey, a Wonder Twins movie is possibly being made. And you guys know here, if you watch me talk movie news, sometimes we hear about a movie and it's months, even years before we see something happen. With Wonder Twins, 2 months later, they already had a writer, then another month later, they had casting, and then they were like a couple weeks away from filming this movie so that we could get it soon. And then according to these reports, the cast and crew recently got a call this week saying, hey, it's not happening anymore. Discovery does not think this is a good idea. And I agree with them. No fault at all to anyone who was excited for a Wonder Twins movie. It could have been a really fun film. I was skeptical on the cast and even the premise alone, but it was being branded as a comedy, so it wasn't going to take itself seriously, and it was just something for HBO Max to kind of drive up subscribers. But when your DC universe is kind of sloppy and not well put together, do you really just want to be making random risky projects like that? I know people hate the comparison to Marvel and DC, but look at Marvel. They earned the right to do risky and unknown characters. They had a whole slew of several characters and an Avengers film before they tried out Guardians of the Galaxy. You can make a Wonder Twins movie when you've kind of earned the audience behind your back going, you know what, you make great films, let's see this damn Wonder Twin film. But now with that said, along with the reports that Wonder Twins is being canceled, it's also being said that they're looking at other DC projects to go ahead and give them the boot because it just does not fit with their vision for the future and reshaping the DC universe. They have no interest on wasting money on something that isn't proven or shown to make big bucks. So now gathering up a list here of all the upcoming DC movies and TV shows and me trying to guess exactly what fits into their setup and what doesn't, there's a couple of projects in here I can see them canceling. Starting off, it should be said, any movie that's already been filmed or is currently filming right now, they're not going to cancel it. So the Blue Beetle movie, thank goodness it's safe. Not to say that was probably one they would have canceled, but based on the previous reports that we've heard, it might have been. Because remember, when we got that article saying that Discovery was going to revamp the DC universe, they wanted to focus on their main legendary characters. That's people like Superman, Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman. Basically, the starting lineup of the Justice League, they want to take another look at them and bring them back into the spotlight before they dig into the barrel and grab some of these B or C list characters and give them movies or shows. And no offense to my boy Blue Beetle, I love him, but you gotta admit, he's not mainstream enough for them to be investing that much in. So then we get into a situation with like the Green Lantern TV show that we've just like been hearing endlessly about. Like seriously, you guys know who've been following the DC universe, this Green Lantern HBO Max show has been in the works for like 2 to 3 years, and it's like a snail pace of news. We'll get a casting update, a story update, and then just dead silence. I'm gonna say here, I think the TV series is gonna be canceled, but it's because they'd rather make it a movie. The previous leadership at Warner Brothers was always scared of making another Green Lantern film after the Ryan Reynolds one, which I always think is ridiculous. So what? You had one failure, you try again. But instead of them wanting to make another movie, they decided, let's just make an HBO Max series, bring out all these different Green Lantern characters. Maybe it gives us some more space to flesh them out and whatnot. When I'm thinking Discovery's looking like, why are we turning the Green Lantern, a very recognizable hero even without a movie, into a TV show where he's going to be drowned out by a bunch of other Green Lantern characters? I think Discovery is going to be like, no, let's give Jon Stewart his movie, feature Hal Jordan in there, and then maybe we can revisit the Green Lantern Corp idea with other Green Lantern characters that maybe just don't have the time to show up in the movie. Again, that's not been confirmed, but that's what I could see happening with Discovery, since they're talking about revamping a lot of their legendary characters. Another one I'm really afraid is getting canceled, and I do not want it to be because I was excited for this, is the upcoming Zatanna movie. And again, this just goes back to Zatanna is one of their lesser known characters that maybe a lot of comic book fans out there know who she is, but the general mass audience don't. So to that reason alone, I could see Discovery going, it isn't necessary for us to make a Zatanna movie, let's focus on something else. I know that sounds dumb because people are like, well, shouldn't you be introducing new characters, making them more mainstream for the audience? I agree, but again, that article stated they literally said they want to make more stuff like the Joker that exploits, that was the language they used, their more mainstream characters. The only reason I could see Zatanna still happening is because of the talent behind it. This film is being written and directed by the person who brought us Promising Young Woman, Emerald Fennell, and when you have someone who's won an Oscar working behind a DC movie, you maybe want to keep them on. But again, I feel like that is one in danger of being canceled. One, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm 50-50 on the Static Shock live action movie. Part of me wants to say they'll keep that movie and they'll make it happen. But that might be my bias because to me, I grew up watching Static Shock like a lot of you out there. So to me, he's kind of like a mainstream hero. I feel like everybody my age pretty much knows who Static Shock is. But we gotta remember, people our age aren't the ones who are running Warner Brothers and Discovery. They might see it as, who is this guy? If anything, I think the Static Shock movie happening will very much depend on the performance of Blue Beetle, because I feel like they'll look at them on the same level. These teenage superhero characters in the DC lineup, they're also diverse characters, so that's a factor in it. So really, if you want that Static Shock movie to happen, it's all going to depend on the box office performance of the Blue Beetle movie. But again, because Static Shock isn't considered one of those legendary status characters, it's in danger of not happening. Now, I know so far I'm going down the list of all these upcoming characters that were brand new to us that seem like they might not be happening now, but looking on the bright side of things, this also does mean a Superman movie is super close. And we know this because we've gotten reports that Ta-Nehisi Coates, who is the writer that was hired for the Superman reboot and is assumed to be the Black Superman movie, his first draft of the script was recently turned into Warner Brothers. Now, we gotta remember though, when he was first hired on to make this Superman movie, it was with the intention that they can make it a Black Superman movie. Now with Discovery in the chair, we're hearing reports that this script could go either way. It is up to Discovery whether they want to make it a Black Superman or the traditional white looking Superman. And that was like one of the most important things we heard Discovery wanted to fix with the DC universe, is making Superman as popular again as Batman. I know fans out there are looking at me crazy like, Chris, Superman is already as popular as Batman. He might be to us nerds, but to the general public who aren't as geeky as us, Superman is not up there with Batman just yet, even though he definitely should be. I could see them most likely going traditional with this and then just instead doing the Black Superman story with what Michael B. Jordan was wanting to do, if that doesn't get canceled. It's really a weird and unique situation we're in right now because we wanted these kind of changes for the DC universe we just didn't think it would mean the sacrifice of a lot of the characters we were really looking forward to. Like, I'm nervous now for this upcoming Nightwing movie that we heard was happening connected to Batgirl, because Batgirl is supposed to introduce the new Dick Grayson, whoever that's being played by, and it was going to spin off into his own Nightwing movie. And now you look at a project like that and it makes you wonder, will that fit into Discovery's bigger picture plan of making that a priority in something that they can see making money? I know we'd go watch it, but it also makes you want to be realistic with things, because like we know stuff like Joker 2, that's definitely going to want to be happening. That's a movie that made $1 billion. All the spin-off TV shows connected to Robert Pattinson's Batman, those are definitely happening. Batman was a big success. People are clamoring for more of that world, so we're still going to get that. But this is where I throw it off to you guys. I want to hear from you. You hear Discovery's actually going ahead and chopping down, slashing properties. Who do you think is actually next? What projects do you think are safe and why? I think everything. Be sure to leave me your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.